Welcome back to Emergency Preparedness UK. In today's video, what I'm going to be showing you is my bug out / get home bag, following relatively loosely the 10 C's of survival that was put forward by Dave Canterbury. So, let's get started. In the corner over here, you'll see my Osprey Stratos 36. I'd just like to highlight, yes, I do also use it to go camping. It's not just a bug out bag. I don't have loads of money. I'm not a millionaire. I can't just keep an Osprey that just sits there doing nothing. It is also my camping bag. So this comes out and gets packed back in quite a bit because I do like to go camping. Right, following on from what I just said, the 10 C's of survival. That is what my bag is based off. Sometimes quite loosely, but otherwise I try to keep it as strict as possible. Starting off with number one, we have a cutting tool, or in my case, cutting tools. Last thing you want is, for example, you're in your car, you get stuck, you don't have any tools to cut out any logs to get yourself unstuck. What I have here is, first of all, the Cold Steel SRK. Absolutely brilliant piece of kit. Blade is very thick, very strong, and it's got a really nice tang on there. Perfect for batoning, gathering firewood, and you know, if worse comes to worse, defending yourself. Second off, we got this wonderful folding saw. The best thing about it, it was a £5. £5. That's all this cost me. I've tested it out multiple times, and so far, I'm really happy with the performance. You can unscrew the blade here to effectively replace the blade should it become damaged. So I always have a couple of them lying around somewhere. They are absolutely brilliant bits of kit. Now, if you want to spend more money on one of these, you can, nothing's stopping you. However, for £5, you cannot beat it. Moving on to number two, we have communication. What I usually have when I go camping is a walkie-talkie, just a pair of them that I can give to whoever I'm going camping with, so that we have a, in most cases, foolproof way of communicating. Now, should it be an emergency situation, a real emergency situation, I will have my Baofeng or one of my crank-up radios. One of those would be perfect for that situation, but just for camping, I just go for a walkie-talkie. However, when this is just sat doing nothing, I obviously don't leave the electronics in there. What I have is a notepad along with a pen. What this allows you to do is leave notes for people that might be trying to find you, people that might be unaware of certain aspects of a route. If, for example, there's damage to the trail, it's a bit dangerous, you could leave a note, you know, warning people of that. That would be pretty impossible to do with a radio, because they would also have to have a radio be on the same frequency as you. That's why I enjoy having a small notepad, pen or pencil, preferably pencil. However, that's in my map kit. Right, moving on to number three, we have combustion tool. One thing I really want to highlight for this whole bag, in my opinion, there's a saying that I stick to all of the time. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. If you have only one of an item, you are putting yourself at greater risk of that item failing and you being unable to look after yourself. That's why I like to have variety. So for combustion tools, I've got a ferro rod and striker. This is a really good bit of kit. Oh, it's on the fresh coating side. There we go. It's a bit rubbish with the original striker, but as you can see, it throws off a decent amount of sparks. Second bit of kit for fire lighting, obviously it's going to be a lighter. I do prefer to have an electric lighter. They tend to be better, you know, because the flint does not get wet. However, at the moment, it's just one of these ones. Okay, moving on to the next one is calories. This is a really big one. To keep yourself in a tip-top shape, you need to have calories. Now, it varies from place to place what the recommended amount is. It's usually around 1,500 to 2,500 calories per day for men, and for women, it's usually around the 1,000-1,500 mark, depending on your energy expenditure. Now, because this bag, luckily, does not get used often when it comes down to emergencies, I opted for British Army rations, because you can kind of throw them away into your bag, forget about them for a few years. Yeah, they're going to taste minging, they're rations, they always do, they're gross. However, they can be the difference between being able to continue to get home or get away from a bad situation and not being able to because you don't have the energy. So, let's take a really quick dive into this bag and see what we've got. First off, we have a fruit flavored drink. This one, I believe, is mango. Very nice, he said with sarcasm. So you can add your own bits and pieces into this. For example, I've got some of these electrolyte tablets. They go a weird colour because they oxidize. However, they're still usable. Chewing gum, more chewing gum. It's really good if you're a smoker to sort of subside your cravings. It's also really, really good for suppressing appetite. You know, if you're feeling real hunger pangs, you've maybe run out of food. Really good for that. Some powdered milks, in case you need a cup of tea. We're British after all, we all need a cup of tea. Got a long aluminium spoon, perfect for getting into the ration packs. Oh, crikey. Spicy sausage and potato wedges, not a personal favourite of mine, hence why it's been sat in a bag for ages. The expiry on this one is, where is it? 2026. So it's still got around a year left of shelf life. Moving on, we have arguably one of the best ration packs, is the beef burrito style filling with rice. Absolutely brilliant, really, really tasty. Well, about as tasty as it gets for ration packs. However, it's got a best before of also 2026. So it's one of the ones that you can kind of just throw it into your bag, forget about it, and then if you really need it, it's there. What's the next one? Please be something good. Okay, we've got a classic. All day breakfast. This one's quite an old one. Yeah, when's the best before for this? Yeah, February 2026. So it's still got a bit of time in it. It's not the nicest. It's mostly beans. It's, you know, this isn't a ration review. I will do one of those soon. However, yeah, it's not ideal. To help, obviously, with lighting a fire, to make your food or eat it hot, you can eat them cold. They're even more grim cold though. We have storm-proof matches. These are really, really good. They work. You can get them wet, you can get them cold, really cold, and they will still ignite. I'm a big advocate for storm-proof matches. A little snack here to keep you going on the move is the barbecue peanuts. Personally, not the greatest fan of the ration pack peanuts. It's like eating balls of rubber. However, some people like them. I think they're a bit crazy, but you know, they're not bad. If you're feeling really hungry, they will suffice. Coffee. This can keep you running for days. Days and days. If you are having a really bad time trying to get home or trying to get somewhere and you don't have a vehicle or access to transport, you are going to need something to give you a really nice lift up. Okay, so coffee's really good for this. Caffeine, getting as much as you can into your system, and as soon as you have a coffee in the morning, I can't function without one. So for me, this would be one of the first things I'd be tucking into. Slightly coming into the hygiene side of things now. We've got alcohol wipe. So this is when you're done and you wipe your mouth and you get horrible coating of that orange sauce from all the ration packs. That's just so that you can keep yourself clean, keep your items clean, make sure that you're not getting any mess everywhere, and you're good to go for the next time that you need to cook. And then finally, another fruit flavoured ration pack drink, another mango one. You can tell that I have a favourite when it comes to flavours. Another mango one here. They are really nice. Well, about as nice as it gets. And then finally, for the ration pack, we have some sambal, sriracha, yeah, spicy red chili sauce, as it says on the label there. It brings a bit of life to the ration packs. You know, they're a bit dull, they're a bit horrible. These really do kind of help to, you know, reduce the pain of eating them. So, when I'm camping, to eat those lovely rations, if I'm eating rations, I usually don't. However, if I am, we've got a wonderful invention called the jet boil. I believe this one is the jet boil flash. Comes with gas canister, the stove attachment, and a stand. Moving on to another related item. If I don't have the jet boil in my kit at that time of day, I've got a metallic cup, a single wall metallic cup for cooking, purifying water, and drinking the coffee with. Along with that, we have a Hygiene water bottle. This one's made by Eurohike. Had it for years and years. It came as a pre-built survival kit by one of my friends when I was a child, and I've had it ever since. Personally, you can't go wrong with it. Plastic, it's heavy duty, been dropped, thrown, chewed on by the dog. Very naughty. But it's still standing and it's still working. So if it works, why replace it? Brilliant. So that covers our container side of things. We're moving now on to coverage. This here is my basher bag. Anybody knows what a basher is, you know that it's either going to be a really nice comfy sleep or it's going to be one of the worst nights of your life. So this one is in my red OEX dry bag, just so that it's visible, so that I can see it, and if I put it down, I don't lose it. Sorry. It's absolutely perfect for keeping in your bug out bag because it will give you enough shelter so that you can survive for a couple of days and even maybe build something semi-permanent. The contents of this I'm not going to get out because it will be an absolute explosion all over the table and I will probably not be able to reclaim any of this video. The contents of this are 4 bungees, 1 basher, which is effectively a tarpaulin, a camouflage tarpaulin, waterproof, wind resistant, etc. There's a couple pegs in there and some silooms as well, so that when it gets to night time you can hang one on there and you can see where you've put your basher, because it is camouflage, it is difficult to see at night time. That's the whole purpose of it. Next we have the sleeping bag. It's nothing fancy, it's one of the really cheap Eurohike, I believe it's Eurohike, no, Yellowstone, my apologies. Yellowstone sleeping bags that I got a few years ago whilst I was on a weekend event. Got it for free, which is lovely. Always like a bit of free kit. It's not a sleeping bag that will keep you warm in freezing conditions. It is just enough to get you by on a cold British day, effectively, British night. It's enough to get you through so that you survive. Yeah, you'll be a bit chilly, a bit uncomfortable, but you'll live, basically. In conjunction with the sleeping bag, I have a survival bag. This one's made by Life Systems, really good brand over here in the UK. I believe they have it in the US and other countries as well. It's D of E recommended, which usually they recommend half decent kit. Effectively you put the sleeping bag inside of here, keeps it waterproof, and it helps to have some thermal retention. It basically increases the R value very slightly so that you can stay a little bit warmer. This makes it so that if it were to be freezing cold, it would be a lot easier to stay a little bit warmer with this. It's even got a nice little print of a snowflake on it. It's got the instructions on the back. Show that to the camera in case anybody has a really good zooming camera or phone. And then finally, the last thing in the sleeping kit, which is going to increase the R value of your sleep, is my Berghaus I believe this was the half body blow up self-inflating airbed. Really small, you know, in comparison to the water bottle. They're near enough the same height and probably about double the thickness. So I won't lie, it's not the comfiest thing. You're not going to be sleeping like you're at the Four Seasons. It is uncomfortable because it is outside, you know, you're on rocks and roots, etc. It is not very thick. It's maybe about nearly an inch thick when fully inflated. It's not bad, but it's compact and it will help. It means you'll survive. Moving on to clothing now. Clothing is obviously an interesting concept when it comes down to bug out bags, because unless you live somewhere that the temperature is exactly the same all year round, it's either always raining or never raining, it makes it more difficult to decide what to put in. You're going to have to do what you do with your food supplies, is rotate them. So for me now, it's winter, well, just coming out of winter. So what I always do is I have underwear and socks. That's a given, no matter what it is I'm doing, no matter where I'm going. Spare underwear and at least 3 pairs of socks. Because if your feet get wet and damp, cold, you can end up with trench foot. You're going to end up really, really miserable for the remainder of your trip, or until you get home, or to safety. It's going to be miserable. You're going to hate it. Not going to be fun. Additionally, depending on the weather, I might pack a poncho, I might pack something that is a little bit more insulative, a jumper of some kind, a hat, gloves, things like that, dependent on where I'm going. However, if it's summer and you're walking around wearing jeans, you might want to pack some shorts and a short sleeve t-shirt or a vest, something low profile, something that's going to keep you cool. Where do I put those? Another OEX dry bag. These are really good. They haven't let me down. No matter what they've been through, they've always stayed waterproof. This has enough space, personally for me, for a decent amount of clothes. I don't fill it up with clothes. I put a mix of things in, pants and socks, any other jumpers and things like that, woolly hat, gloves, etc. And you can compact it down, you can reel it down and seal it. That allows for it to be more compact. Right, moving on. Hygiene. Hygiene is majorly important. It kind of ties into the shoe situation and the sock situation I was just talking about. If you get wet, if you stay unhygienic, you can end up with health conditions that can cause you lots of problems. So, when nature calls, you need something to deal with the aftermath. Some people carry a shovel. However, personally, you just find a good stick. That's perfectly fine, or a rock. You don't need to increase the weight with a shovel because, you know, end of the day, hopefully nobody's going to see you have to use this. So we have the plastic bag here that you undo. And usually I have a spare, a couple of like dog poo bags in there. because you leave no trace. So either using this bag or one of the other bags, dog food bags, you do your business, you wipe and you put it in here, seal it up, chuck it in your bag, and then when you find somewhere to dispose of it there. Obviously, depending on the situation, if it's an actual major crisis, you might not need to worry about that. However, it's always best to, simply because you want to follow the countryside code, make sure that no animals or people's dogs, livestock get injured by eating effectively contaminated tissue, which can cause blockages for them. It's very important to leave the site that you use clean. Okay, moving on again to hygiene. We have some things here that are going to make your time a bit more pleasurable. We've got some diorolite. This is really good for when you're dehydrated. Some people might remember having it when they were kids. Tastes horrible, it feels horrible, but it makes you feel better. For me, I'm a smoker, I know, dirty habit, I need to stop. Nicotine gum, because you might not have the luxury of cigarettes. Deodorant, razor, toothbrush, toothpaste hidden in there, and some body wash. People might say, oh, why do you have body wash? You don't need that, it's not essential. This effectively stops you from getting any fungal infections or anything like that. If you're in a slightly more humid environment, I know for a fact that as a larger guy, I sweat like a pig. So that for me is essential. I need to stay clean. So I use that in conjunction with one of the folding collapsible towels in here. That's what those are. You add water and they turn into a flannel, really strong flannel. You just use them. Give yourself a tramp bath, which is what it's called, and then you're good to go. Additionally, got a bandana. I love having a bandana in my kit. Really multi-purpose, really, really important. It can be used for anything down to filtering water, keeping the sun off your head on a really hot day. It can be used as a tourniquet, a bandage. It can be used as nearly anything. It's very versatile and multi-purpose. I like to personally keep this at the top of my bag. It stays in the top flap, either that or it stays in the waist pack on the right hand side so that I can easily access it. It's also really good if you come into contaminants, things like fire, smoke, things that could potentially cause you harm. This can reduce the effect of them. For example, with a fire, you soak the bandana, water, put it around your face, you're likely to be less susceptible to smoke inhalation and lung damage. Okay, on that note, we've got the med kit. I've had this med kit for years. I think I got the pouch when I was 13 or 14, and so far, no complaints. It has stayed up to date. A couple of years ago, I turned it into a little medic pouch. So this med kit is primarily based upon trauma, getting cut, getting injured, RTAs, things along that line where, you know, it's more acute to being injured. Starting off, got our tourniquet. Make sure when you're buying these, you buy the genuine tourniquets. Do not go for the cheap, rubbish ones that you get on AliExpress and everything, because the twister will just snap. This will snap. If it's low quality, it will snap. You won't be able to use it. It will be the difference between good day and bad day, very heavily. Got some hand sanitizer. This stuff is so important for if you've obviously just gone to the toilet and you decide to clear your hands off. Also really good for before you treat somebody or yourself, making sure your hands are fully clean so that you don't cause any infections to that person. Various painkillers of kinds, Panadol, Brilliant stuff. The cure of hangovers everywhere. We've got glasses wipes, because I'm a glasses user. I know, it's very sad. Some steri strips for wound closure. Some small blister plasters, or for bites, things like that. More diorolite, just in case. Acid reflux medication. Nothing worse. You're on a hike, you're going camping, and all of a sudden you get heartburn or acid reflux. You start feeling like rubbish. It just ruins the trip, makes everything feel really bad. Okay, then that's everything for that pouch, apart from the safety pins, which obviously are really good for holding up slings if you injure your arm. Really good for patching back clothes together, and also brilliant for using as fish hooks, makeshift fish hooks. Moving on, we have got some bandages. Bandages and gauze are important for packing the wound. We've got a medium dressing here. Scissors, they're not the fancy ones, but they're good enough. Bug spray, technically is in the hygiene category, but also isn't. And it's my bag, I can put it where I want, so yeah. Another really important one for any person anywhere in the world, I think, especially England in the south. Tick tweezers. The amount of times you'll walk through grass and then all of a sudden you'll have a look down and there'll be 3 ticks attached to you. Happens more than you'd think. Rennies. Hygienic wipes. Got 3 of them. Some gloves. This is more for if you are treating another person. Obviously, even if you know them, it's best, stops bloodborne diseases from being transmitted to you, and it stops bacteria from your hands being transferred over to that person, potentially making the situation even worse. And then just plasters, lots of plasters. There will always be a use for plasters. As long as there is one person alive on this planet, plasters will be needed. Okay, last item here is some burn soothe. This is important. I love to keep it in my kit simply because when you're around a campfire, you know, you might have had 1 or 2 drinks, you might be a bit tipsy, falling over. Somebody could fall into the fire, damage yourselves, really hurt yourselves. So burn soothe is brilliant for that, simply because it gives you a first line of defense for the pain whilst you get yourself to a treatment center. Off that goes. That's the med kit. We're getting on in the kit. We are nearly done. Surprise item. Some of you might have been looking at this throughout the video and thinking, what is that? Some people might have seen it and known immediately. I would suggest that this comes under the communication side of things a bit more, but it's one of those controversial items, so I decided to leave it out until now. If you guessed solar charger, you would be correct. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. Starting off in here, we've got the actual unit that you use to charge your phone. And for me, I've got a cable with an iPhone. Plug it in, etc, etc. I'm not going to do it because there's no point. Disconnecting the Velcro. You can see that there are 2 solar panels there. The reason I really like this one is because it comes with carabiners. So all you need to do is have your phone in the top flap of your backpack, plug it in, strap it to the back of your Bergen or your backpack, whatever it is you're using, and just walk around like this. It charges your phone whilst you're walking. So that's why I enjoy it. You can also set it up in a configuration like this. Obviously you'll need some rocks and not a really slippery table. Yep, like that, with some rocks, not a slippery wooden table. And that just effectively allows your communication devices, your primary ones like your phone, etc., to stay running. Obviously power banks are good for this as well, and I do have one that is usually in the back of here. I was just using it today though. However, it is vital that you have something like this, because what are you going to do when that 10,000 milliamp phone charger dies? You will then have nothing. Great bit of kit, I love it. Got it from Decathlon, it's like 40, 50 pounds, brilliant. Another C, cordage. This is just some jute twine, Jute, if you want to search it on Amazon or something like that. This is a reel I've had for ages. It was out here ages ago, but I've used a lot of it over the years. I like it because it's really strong. You can put a lot of abuse onto it, and it's more of a disposable kind of cordage. It's not paracord where you're worried about getting it back because it's really expensive. These are around £5 for a large roll, which is perfect for me. You can use it and then dispose of it by burning it in the fire, and you don't really have to worry after that. So, moving on to the water side of things. So technically this comes into container, water carriage, etc. But it's a slight subsection because this is where I'm going to talk about the filtration and the purification of water. So obviously you've got the bandana that you could use for that as a sort of pre-filter stage. I've also got this filter well sort of life straw rip-off kind of thing. Still works, still good. I've used it a few times before along with that. So my process for this would be to pre-filter the water, run it through one of these, and then either boil it or pop in one of these water purification tablets. I believe they are. These are by Life Systems. They're just the chlorine tablets. Obviously it makes your water taste absolutely revolting. Makes it taste like you're drinking a swimming pool. It's disgusting. If you can, boil the water and use a filter to get sort of the micro particulates out of there, because nobody wants to drink a swimming pool. That's disgusting. This here is something that holds a special place in my heart. It's my bugout tin. The bugout tin goes in the bugout bag, and it's effectively there for in case, for whatever reason, I need to ditch the bag. Say for example I'm injured and can't carry the bag and can only take something, it'll be this. This contains an awful lot of stuff, so I'll be doing a second video on this that will probably be out tonight. So stay tuned for that. It's a really good bit of kit. Loads of really interesting things in here. Really good stuff. But yeah, I'll get into that in another video. This is just for if, for whatever reason, I need to ditch the bag. Moving on now, we have a flashlight. This one, for me, really important that it is non-battery reliant, in the sense of it doesn't need to be charged via battery. Even though we can with the solar charger, I prefer to have it so that you just turn it on and it's something that is wind up. Blinded you there. It's not exactly powerful. You're not going to be, you know, seeing hundreds and hundreds of meters with this. It's small, it's compact, and it's really good for an emergency. End of the day, remember, this bag is primarily for emergencies. It's packed completely differently when I'm off on my camping trips or expeditions. So this is something that I would bring as a backup, but not as the primary. I'll usually have a head torch, which I do also usually leave in the bag. Wayfinding. Movement. Getting from A to B in an effective manner. That is what my navigation kit's for. I've taken out the map simply because it's got my local area printed on it. So effectively, you'd have your map in here as well. But we've got a pencil and a pen. Obviously you don't use pen on maps, but if it were a more permanent route, you might need to stop it washing away. Got a compass. I've got one of the lensatic style, military style compasses. I just prefer to use these ones. I find them, you know, they're a bit more useful. However, completely up to you what you decide to use. Inside of a wonderful silver map case. The only downside I have about this bag is it started to yellow. Don't know if you can see that there. It's a bit nasty and horrible. I've tried cleaning it and it's a sticky kind of plastic. It feels rubbery, and it's not pleasant to touch, and it gathers dust really quickly, and it's also starting to yellow. So maybe I'll be changing this bit of kit soon, but for being waterproof, it's got a really tough seal at the top, which can, if you've got cold hands, be a bit of a pain to get undone and done back up. But overall, brilliant. No complaints. So, that brings us to the end of the video. That is my bug out bag for emergencies. This is something that you can keep in the back of the car. Personally, I recommend that everybody has one. If you don't have one, maybe make one. Doesn't have to be as advanced as this or as complex as this one, but you can make it as easy or difficult as you want to make it. You can spend as little money or as much money as you want to. You could buy things like this for 4p, 5p from Pound Stretcher. You could buy things like this for £1 at Poundland. You can buy this one, I think in particular was £3. Doesn't need to be expensive, it just needs to work. But yeah, water bottles, I tend to spend a bit more money on them because they get a bit abused. However, you don't need to. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all, no matter what they are, leave them down below, and I will try my best to answer them as quickly as possible. I hope you've noticed as well that the audio quality is a lot better. Spent a bit of money on a microphone, which really helps, really improve the quality from what I've seen so far, and I'm hoping it will continue to do so in the future with other videos. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your night. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Stay prepared.